Thanks for tuning into the Drive for History this week. We're back in the American Racer exhibit right here on the second floor at Wheels Through Time. Best collection of Class C racing motorcycles anywhere in the world. We've got a machine here from almost every single year from the 1930s all the way through the 1960s. Right here in our immediate area, we've got some of the early Class C racing machines, 1935 RLDR, 1936 RLDR with a special set of aluminum heads, only set I've ever seen. The 37, 38, and 39 WLDRs are all three factory Daytona specials. Now, if you check these things out, remember, Daytona Beach Race, 200-mile race on the beach, 2 miles up the beach, 2 miles down A1A. Big, huge monster gas tanks. They've all got dropped handlebars, chin pads, rear pillion pads for laying down, staying out of the wind. These gas tanks, some of the coolest tanks I've ever seen. Remember, privateer racers were doing all sorts of stuff to modify their machines, make them easier to use, pit stops faster, motors faster. The guy actually used Harley-Davidson distributor caps as his gas caps here. So quick fill setups, monster gas caps, only set of these tanks I've ever seen. So my dad restored each of these three motorcycles in the late 1990s. They all three run absolutely incredible. Front mount magnetos on this one. The 237 and 38 models are actually distributor models. So early on, before they allowed the machines to run magnetos, they actually had total loss battery systems, so no generator up front. Generator's a lot of drag, but they still used battery and just a classic set of points like your standard road model machine. So 37 and 38 battery ignition WLDRs. Then in 39 they come out with that front mount magneto, and the game really kind of changed from there. So Daytona Specials really is as special of Harley-Davidson Class C racing machines as you'll see anywhere. Continuing on, the 1940 WLDR. This is an ultra special machine. It's actually second to last year for the WLDR, 45 cubic inch factory ball bearing racing engine. So a few of the specials were actually set up with ball bearings inside, and this one big side mount magneto. WLDR cylinders with the big 4-bolt manifold. This example has a bit smaller gas tanks than the 37, 38, and 39, but these are both gas, where the oil in this machine is held under this big cast aluminum experimental racing oil tank. So a few of the WRs, a few of the WLDRs had the big aluminum tank, long distance racing, more capacity for fuel right up here. Now the machine we're going to be firing for you today is this 1941 Harley-Davidson WR. Now believe it or not, this is the very machine that started my dad's love affair with Class C racing, and more specifically the Harley-Davidson WR in general. So starting right here with the power plant, ultra rare 1941 WR engine. They only made 36 Harley WRs in 1941. So ball bearing crankshaft, ball bearing cams, big update from the standard WLDR racing machines just a few years earlier. Big port racing cylinders, high compression heads, canned valves. So this thing is really has worked over a factory Harley-Davidson engine as they were offering at the time. Big side mount monster racing magneto. Puts out the juice, like we were saying, upwards of 30,000 volts coming out of one of these Wyco mags. So when my dad bought this bike, he actually purchased it from Paul Kegel Harley-Davidson in Rockford, Illinois. Paul Kegel's is arguably one of the oldest Harley-Davidson dealers in the world today. When my dad bought the bike, it was actually updated with a later frame. Now in 1948 or 49, Harley-Davidson came out with the WR chromoly racing frame, easily identifiable by the reinforcement back here and some specifically drilled holes up in the neck, but the frame considerably lighter than a stock Harley-Davidson WL or WLDR frame. The chromoly frame really made things quite a bit lighter. So the handlebars, ultra rare Hollywood racing handlebars, skinny little Harley-Davidson racing gas tanks, the WR narrow tanks, maybe just about 2 gallons in those tanks. Most of the parts, when my dad restored this bike, most of the parts he used were new old stock components. So parts brand new, sitting on dealers' shelves for years and years, happily employed on this build. So neat kind of side story about this machine. 1978, my dad actually taught 3-time Grand National Dirt Track champion, the one and only Jay Springsteen, how to ride a tank shift foot clutch motorcycle. It was Jay's first time on a tank shift. As you can imagine, he mastered it within minutes. Proud moment for my dad, and one more thing that makes this motorcycle ultra special to him. So what we're going to do is we're going to get this thing fired up for you right now, and you guys can hear it roar. So what a machine, one of 36 produced in 1941. Great power out of a little 750cc Harley-Davidson flathead motor. And a couple laps on a bike like that wouldn't take you long to fall in love with the Harley WR. Guys, thanks for tuning into the Drive for History. It's been a great week firing up Class C racing machines. Next week, we have a big one for you. It's the finale of our summer-long event. We're going to be firing up some of the rarest motorcycles in the world, period. The one-of-a-kind 1916 Traub, 1909 Harley-Davidson prototype, the 1937 Crocker Hemi, and more, guys. So make sure you're tuning in. For those of you guys enjoying Drive for History, check out driveforhistory.com or head over to the Wheels Through Time website. Make a contribution today and help fuel us, the museum that runs. Thanks.